Now one Tennessee lawmaker is under fire after joining the Oregon standoff controversy overnight. He sent out a tweet that asked how he could help those militia members. Today she's in our newsroom with why what he tweeted is now different from what he says he meant. Rebecca.
Well, Rory, Representative Andy Holt says that ever since he sent out that tweet, which has been deleted, he's received 5 different death threats as well as hundreds of personal attacks. He says he used to live and work on a ranch in Wyoming and says because of that, he empathizes with any Western ranchers who fear federal overreach. It started with a protest. Dozens in army fatigues carrying weapons but remaining peaceful took to the streets in Oregon on behalf of rancher Dwight Hammond and his son Stephen, who reported back to federal prison Monday for a prescribed burn that blew out of control, destroying federal land. Here in Tennessee, I spoke with one lawmaker who has made his support for the ranchers well known.
We have a 74-year-old man and a 46-year-old man who are having to leave their families, not for one time, but for now the second time, to serve hard time in a federal prison because of a criminal activity, supposed criminal activity that happened 15 years ago.
When a group of out-of-towners led by Ammon Bundy spun off the protest and stormed an empty building on the wildlife refuge in question, Representative Holt sent out a tweet that brought on a firestorm of criticism. Originally, you had asked where you could help the cause. Has that tweet since been deleted? I'm scrolling through and I'm not seeing it anymore.
That's correct. Yeah, but it served its purpose. It's definitely brought attention to this conversation, and that I'm very pleased with.
Holt clarified he doesn't agree with this so-called militia's methods to protest what they consider federal overreach. Their main grievance, the vast lands under federal rather than state control.
Obviously, I'm not going to storm a federal building, not going to do anything like that, but the ideology and the philosophy that's been expressed by the Bundys, I do support that 100%.
It's time for you to leave our community, go home to your families, and end this peacefully.
As the world waits to see how it ends, Holt is now turning any online death threats over to TBI after bringing this faraway fight home to Tennessee. I also spoke with the federal wildlife refuge manager here for this state of Tennessee. He tells me that we do also have federal lands here that ranchers are allowed to use for grazing purposes as long as they have permits for it. He says that he's not worried about any sort of similar incident playing out here because he says the culture out west is simply different. He's worked out there as well because there is so much more land in question. But he also says there will always be disagreement over the best way to manage natural resources. In the newsroom, Rebecca Schleicher, News Channel 5.
Rebecca, thanks. The Bundys who are leading that standoff had a grazing dispute with the federal government 2 years ago. And you may remember Representative Holt is currently fighting the EPA after being slapped with fines for dumping wastewater into the Mississippi River without authorization.